There it is. Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully my mic is on. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Hounds of Business Community Presents Mike King Biz Radio here on ESPN 106.1 FM in Richmond, RVA. Folks, thank you for tuning in. People and Hounds, friends of the Hounds, thank you for joining us live. If you are in Richmond now, listening on the radio, welcome. We got a special guest. I am super duper excited for this one, folks. We're going to figure out and dive in with the one and only Jamie Noerpel. All right. She's with York County, Pennsylvania, and they are changing the game. All right. They use kindness to solve a lot of the local problems folks facing community. So let me get this party started. Let me say hi, people. Oh, Lewis is here. Oh, man, he beat Susanna, dadgummit. All right, thank you, Mr. Lewis. Good to see you, Lewis Thickley. And then Homer. All right, my right-hand man. This guy keeps me in check, folks. So let's roll this intro and get this party started.
Looks like your business might be in a bit of a pickle. Don't you worry about a thing. You ain't alone in this. You're just a success story waiting to happen. Trust me on that. Every bump in the road is just an opportunity wearing a clever disguise. Welcome to the Hounds of Business community, where we don't just sit around twiddling our thumbs. Nope, we turn those obstacles into mighty fine stepping stones. This here's a place where high-level entrepreneurs and sharp professionals gather to grow their businesses and mindsets, kind of like how a good old gumbo needs the right ingredients to be something special. Ideas thrive here, and collaborations? Well, they're as natural as sweet tea on a hot day. Success? It's a journey, and we're fixing to walk that road right beside you. Now, don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn for all the latest tips and insights. We're talking about the kind of wisdom that'll keep you ahead of the game. And while you're at it, head on over to our YouTube channel. We've got ourselves a treasure trove of videos, from expert interviews to webinars, everything you need to stay sharp in this fast-moving world of business. The Hounds of Business community? Well, we ain't just a network, we're a movement. So why not come on and be part of something bigger? Join us today and let's turn your business journey into a real Southern success story. Together, we'll achieve greatness, just like crawfish and singing on a Friday night.
Hey, let's see if this northern lady knows about crawfish and singing on a Friday night. Let's bring her up. Jamie Noerpel. All right, folks, we are talking today, oh, goodness, about economics of compassion. Kindness is transforming York County, and this is one of the major contributors and drivers behind that. Welcome to the show, Jamie. How are you?
Hey, thanks. I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, man, I'm fair to middle. I'm waking up finally, dadgummit. Was it 2 p.m.? Man, it's bedtime somewhere, right? So let's get on this. This kills me, because when I start telling folks, all right, I met you through the one and only Kevin Smith of Kindness Worldwide. And as folks probably heard me talk about, very successful guy, good-hearted man. He lost his wallet one day, panicked like most of us would. And then it looked like he lost his mind. He couldn't find the young lady and all this stuff. So I won't spoil it. But yeah, a lot of crazy things. So it took him down this path of truly spreading kindness worldwide. But it all started in York, right? His hometown, your hometown. And so when I told folks around there, I'm like, hey, they're combating crime and, issues that we all face in community and neighborhoods with kindness. People thought I lost my marbles, right? Or you all did. So before we get into it, tell us a little bit about you, your role in York, and then we'll jump into, what this is all about, right?
Yeah. So I direct an initiative. It's called the York County Safety Collab. And it's a little bit long, but it describes exactly what we do. We're in York County, and we collaborate around public safety efforts. So one of the things that is interesting about our Commonwealth is that we have tons of different police departments, like little fiefdoms right all over. In York County, we have 17 alone, soon to be 16. And so what the Safety Collab does is we have a coalition with all the police departments and the district attorney and the sheriff's office, and we look for ways that we can just work together. That could mean anything from trans-jurisdictional training, meaning that instead of just having one training at one police department, I held, for example, last week an escalation training that had 4 different police departments in it. So it's the idea that if people are there from different areas of York County, they're all getting the same training, because they don't have to do that. So they choose to be involved. And I also look for a lot of community engagement, as how can we get police to connect with the average person? Because I don't think people like understand all that goes into policing and all the challenges. So we look for ways really to build relationships.
Let me stop you there because I love it. And thank you, folks. April Wyatt, oh, amazing lady. She is here with us as usual. And Noni is here. Good to see you, Noni. Here, I've been in the city stuff, right? I've been, I was a leader of nonprofit out in Louisville. I was with the ACM. So I've been in a lot of different stuff, public service and all that. A lot of these programs, police programs and initiatives, they're good intention, don't get me wrong, but they're kind of forced, right? And what stuck out to me, and I want you to elaborate a little bit on the kindness movement, how you met Kevin, is that before we do a program and try to fit people into that and get buy-in for those programs, I mean, there's tons of programs since like the 80s, like DARE and all this stuff, but you guys already want that. Like the police, I met Commissioner Muldrow, right? Like this guy really is a loving, caring person. He much rather go out there and help people and push up his community than enforce laws all day and try to contain people, right? So walk us through that. First of all, we never talked about this. How did you get with Kevin, and how did you all align to say, hey, this is not nonsense? Kindness can be actually measured, it can be formulated, and it can be implemented to actually initiate change in a lot of it, crime rates, etc. So how did you meet Kevin, and how did y'all get this going?
Yeah, how this even started. Well, so actually, I'm going to take you back just a little bit further. I used to be a high school history teacher. I did that for 10 years. Absolutely loved it. It was just so amazing. But after about year 7 or 8, I found that in the morning I had to really like pep myself up to go to work, because kids deserve the best. Like the kids deserve you to be on your best self every single day, to not allow your personal life to impact it. And I found that it was going to be unsustainable for me. Every day I was like, all right, here we go. I was starting to get the Sunday scaries, like that's a red flag that when, maybe you look at a career shift is when Sunday you begin dreading, like, oh man, I got to go do this for another week. So I started looking around for other things. Teachers were by definition scared to let go. We train for one thing and it's difficult to try other things, but York County is just like, we're just doing cool stuff down here. So I reached out to a mentor of mine and said, hey, what are some ways that I can make an impact in York County and actually like do good, but not just work for a nonprofit. Like I want to build something, I want to, and not that, I mean, we are a nonprofit, but not just be plugged into something that's already been around for 100 years. I want to create something new. So then I got hired by York County Safety Collab, and I want to say like 6 months into it, Kevin Smith reached out and he said, hey, I'm on this mission to try to see the good and be the good. Because I lost my wallet. This young woman returned it and she went the extra mile. And what can we do to shine a light on just being nice to one another, treating each other with dignity and respect? And so he knew I was connected with law enforcement. And he said, what can we do to get the police involved? So he came up with this idea of kindness citations, where instead of the police just hunting down the bad guys all the time, they would catch people doing something good. And so the first year, so York City, they were the ones that took it. York City PD with Commissioner Michael Muldrow, they did a great job. The sheriff's office also did it here that first year. But then year 2, which was just this past November, Kevin and I, we got some extra citations made. We went to the Chiefs Association. We pitched it. We got 8 police departments now to participate. And it was so cool because police got to go to, for example, one in West York Borough. There is a fish and oyster restaurant that's been around for generations. And he walked in there and they're like, hey, Matt, like, how's it going? What are you getting today? And then he cited them for being a like pillar in our community by being more than just like a place to go and buy fish, but being someone that they give back, they donate a lot, and they've become this, like landmark, if you will, within our community. Oh no, I lost you. I lost your, can't hear you.
Oh no, I didn't even mute me that time. That's wild. All right. Usually it's my fault. Well, I want to backtrack a little bit because folks out there listening, yes, you heard it correctly. So the police, not just one police officer, like the initiative, different police departments, they're giving out kindness citations, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Explain that a little bit, because people are like, what is that? That sounds like either that's weird, a joke, or it's gimmicky. And folks, it's actually amazing. So explain what that is and how that fit in, because that's actually making a difference in crime rates and culture, all that, right? So
Yeah, in New York City, we had 100 days of no shootings, which is a city as large as ours. You've got about 45,000 people. That's unheard of, and that goes to tons of different people. I don't think one organization can take credit for that, right? Like it takes all these different prevention, intervention, reentry efforts. But yeah, the citations are this. I wish I had one. You have this little piece of paper that says their name, and their address, a little description of here's what you're getting cited for, right? And the officer has to write down what you did to celebrate you, something that you want to be recommended for. And so then they go out and then they visit the person, usually at their location. There you go. Yep,
there
there's
it
one.
is.
So this one was from Hanover. There's this young man named Beckett who, again, went out of his way to help kids at the YMCA. And so when I reached out to the police chiefs and said, like, hey, if you could find, 3 to 5 people in your community that you just want to recognize, catch, because also it's not just good for the youth and the adults that are getting cited. It's good for the police officers because they deal with people on their worst day. Like think about when you're calling 911 and like they got to show up and they are working with people who are genuinely struggling. Now they get to go out and celebrate people. So with Beckett, we caught him at the Y. And it was so funny because everyone's like staring. There's like, why is this cop in here? Like, what's happening? They thought something was going on.
Somebody messed up.
Yeah.
Who is it?
And he stood there like, the police chief, or this is the lieutenant. He stood there, professional. He's got his hat on. He's like, all right, Beckett Simpson, like we're here today. And he was all official. But then this kid was just, you can tell like, he was shuffling his feet. He smiled. He's hiding his hands. He doesn't know what to do with his hands, And so he gave him this citation. And now Beckett was kind of like a local hero because of course the news caught on to it. And so thanks to, Kevin Smith and his kindness worldwide there, you got that logo. I encourage people to go check out his website. Now we have, I don't know, maybe another 20 people that just had a positive interaction with police.
Yeah, and it's making sense, dollars and cents, literally. So let's talk about dollars and cents, right? Because I hear my business buddies, right? Like, what's the ROI on being nice, Mike? Like, like how do you? But you've done the math, right? You've done the math when you do transformational leadership things from values. They actually make sense. They make revenue sense. So break it down for how much money is York County actually saving on public safety costs, and what are some of the impacts, like the positive metrics?
Right. Well, so it's difficult to measure the impact of crime on a community because there are so many intangible items that you'll never be able to catch. So, for example, if York County or York City was designated as a dangerous place, people aren't going to want to visit here. So we lose tourist dollars, and businesses aren't going to want to set up shop if they're worried about getting their windows broken. Not to mention people like me, I don't want to go downtown as a woman. I have to be worried about walking on the streets at night. So safety impacts businesses and tourism and residents' quality of life. So when you look at the RAND study, this is the Center on Quality Policing. They looked at the tangible and intangible costs of crime. So when we have crime, we see a reduction in quality of life, like everything I just mentioned. You also lose productivity. So both the victim, if they are harmed or hurt in any way, they can't go to work. Right? Or they can't be contributing members to society. And same with the perpetrator too. York County Prison here costs $80 million to run York County Prison. And we have about 1,100 people in our prison. So it is expensive. Now it's an important social institution and we need it. But the idea is to lower those numbers as much as possible. The criminal justice system, just in general, all the courts and judges and attorneys, that it costs money. If there's medical expenditures and also, general property loss, right? So you look at those, which are intangible, and then you also pair that with overstaffed or understaffed police departments. Most police departments here are operating at about 95% capacity, which means they're usually short maybe 1 to 3 different officers, which isn't a huge deal. However, because they are short, we are having a recruitment issue. People aren't going into policing. We have overworked officers, and we see then a reduction in mental health, and that's not good for our first responders, and it's not good for the way that they respond to situations, because they're not operating at their best. Like one of the reasons why I decided that I need to sunset teaching and look for other ways to rejuvenate me. When you're not your best in a service-minded, a public servant capacity, it's not good for anybody. So then, like, let me actually break down the cost, right? Every time there's a serious assault, it costs the York County community about $13,800. Every time there's, serious assault. Wow. Yep. Every time there's a rape, it costs $217,000. And then homicide is about $13.1 million that it costs us as a community. Wow. So if you look at the homicide rates, though, here's what I'm happy about. The homicide rates in York County have been decreasing dramatically. If you look back at 2022, we had 30 people who were murdered in our community. But then in 2023, it went from 30 to 19. And last year, it dropped the whole way down to just 12, which is 12 too many. But 30 just a few years ago down to 12. It's fantastic.
That's phenomenal. No, I've been in those back, in the city governments. When we're the 25th largest city in the U.S. I've never seen anything in a ratio like that. That's hard to deny. You can't say it. You can say you don't like it for whatever crazy reason, but you can't say it doesn't work, right? You guys have put the metrics on this. And real quick, because I want to dive into this even more. Mike King Biz Radio. Thank you so much for our partnership, big dog. He pushes up his community so well that when he goes to the ball games, they put his face on the Jumbotron, folks. And that's why I love our partnership. Going international with Mike King Biz Radio. Shameless plug, Hounds of Business. Don't build a business and try to do things like this alone. All right, tap into a community of winners who can help you realize those goals and dreams. You just heard from Jamie. Right? She just didn't stay in a school teaching job. She wanted to go out there and do something different. She could have said, well, benefits, 401k. No, she said, I'm going to find a way to go live life. And she's doing it. And she's making a huge impact. She's part of a team and a driving force that is making the model that other cities and other communities across the globe can use to really get things done. Win-win. So anyway, Hounds of Business, you can catch us on YouTube. You can watch this live. You can reach us on Redneck1, Mike Ashabraner on LinkedIn, or you can send it carrier pigeon. I still take those. So we're back here with Jamie Noerpel with York County, talking about kindness actually makes sense, economic sense here. So let me get back to it, because property values, right? That's really the litmus test. I mean, you're saying that they can go up, and not just the emotional damage of crime and these horrible things, like, we mentioned rape and all this stuff, but the economic effects it has, and then it trickles down. It's awful. So wow, you guys are doing something about it, right? And I love it. It just makes a lot of sense. So how is this kindness approach affecting employee reliability, right? How is it do you see a shift that's hard to measure in culture, like you're attracting better recruits in the city or the county, police officers, like what is some of the intangible? Like, is it just happier to go to work now? Like, people actually get excited about going, like, how are these things?
Well, I think the biggest thing for York County is the amount of relationships that are being built on trust. Because I know, like, for me, when I was looking at places that I wanted to work, I wanted to like my boss. Like, I spend more time with my coworkers than I do my own family, right? So if I'm going to spend time with these people, it was important that they were in frankly a good mood, right? So in York County, because we're seeing a reduction in crime, because we're seeing more collaboration, you're seeing the coffee shops filled, right? Like for me, when I go and have my meetings, I usually ask people, hey, you want to go grab a cup of coffee? And so it's a chance for me to have that face-to-face and walk downtown and have that sidewalk usage, right? It just seems like it's more alive. And then we're spending money. Usually the coffee is, I get the fancy lattes, not going to lie. So usually like $7 or $8, unfortunately, depending on, tip and all the extras. So we've got that. But we also, even yesterday, we did a mental health walk to try to bring awareness for mental health. And there were maybe, I don't know, 50 or 60 people. We all met at the administrative building in our county, and we just walked the streets to bring awareness. So I think part of that is we're giving each other the benefit of the doubt, that we're all here to try to row in the same direction, give people a lot of grace. If you even look at the foundation of the Safety Collab, because there's really not any other group that's able to convene all law enforcement across an entire county. If there are, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love if there's other cohorts out there to get to know them. But one of the reasons why we were founded is because it was back when Freddie Gray was killed. It was in 2015 down in Baltimore. There were race riots, and they were concerned about it coming to York County. York County doesn't have a great racial past. We've had murders here. And so the clergy in the community called up police chiefs and said, we need to have a conversation, a closed door meeting to talk about what police are doing, how they're treating people. And it was actually led by our Black Ministers Association. So our chiefs at first were like, this is an ambush. Like, I don't know what is going to happen here. And so they met at Logos Academy, a local private Christian school. And it was like an invisible veil was between them. All the chiefs were on one side and all the clergy was on the other side, but there was no media, no elected officials were welcome in. It was supposed to be closed door. And it started off pretty tense. We had Pastor Ramona Kynard stand up, and she talked about how she was concerned about her Black son driving through the country, and being profiled. Right. And what was really cool is that the police chief of the area stood up, and he could have went into an explanation. He could have defended his officer's choices. Instead, he just apologized. And he said, I am so sorry you feel that way. Like, I can't believe this is happening in my jurisdiction. So that just broke the ice. And it was another 3 hours of just trust and transparency and talking and crying and sharing. And then it went so well that chiefs and clergy, they said, we need to keep on meeting. So they've met every single month, a couple summer hiatuses. Yeah, because everyone's on vacation. But every month. So then, like, after the UPMC shooting that we just had a shooting here a couple of months ago, which was terrible, by the way. But our police responded the best they could. The chiefs and clergy got together, and the clergy said, what can we do to support you? And the chief said, show up. Like, your praying is helpful, but show up to my departments. Like, lay hands on my officers and pray with them. And man, like that just it boosted the officers. Wow. It made the clergy feel like they were doing something. And like that, those relationships are the things that I think that are helping our community.
Listen, okay, what I took away from that, because I know a lot of people took a lot away from that. It's amazing, even decades worth, because I've seen it in the fire departments and things like this. It's kind of, we isolate, right? We don't mean to, we're people. But when one courageous, big-hearted person takes the lead, puts themselves out there, it just changed. Like, somebody's like, hey, I'm not doing this. I'm going to go out there and say, I'm sorry. Yeah, somebody has to go first. So, and that brings me back to you guys with, Commissioner Michael Muldrow, and not to get up, but I want people to understand this. We have business leaders and government leaders who want to do better. And so we're going to get into that and leave them with this. But was it the most popular thing for these folks to do? So the police commissioner, other folks, the very early pioneers who stood up and said, we're going to make a change. It probably wasn't the easiest thing to do, was it? Like, they got some pushback. Other police departments of other counties probably went, what's wrong with you? Cuckoo, but they did it anyway. So, like, was that the case where people were like, oh no, I'm betting against this. And then, but the courage was enough to make it happen.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of skepticism. People just, this was new. They weren't sure it was going to work. People kind of in your county, we're really kind of, we're old school in a lot of ways. And so we have to prove ourselves for someone to trust. And I don't blame people. I'm very similar. I'm born and raised in this community. But yeah, the pioneers who started these initiatives. I mean, even for me, I'm not law enforcement, and I'm walking into spaces with cops and I'm asking them to trust me. Like, I'll write local op-ed pieces for our newspapers, and I'll do podcasts, and I'm asking them to be vulnerable and share a part of their lives that they're meant to keep locked up, because people literally try to kill them for a living. And it takes a while to build that rapport. But once you do that investment in human capital, right? Like, actually taking the time to build those relationships, it makes me not want to leave my job. I'll tell you that much. All the solid, loyal people I can call friends now, that makes me want to continue to invest in my community.
Wow. No, and again, this is concrete stuff. So let's get into that in the last 3 to 4 minutes. Because folks across the America, right? They tune in, listen. They're really thirsty for something. So, to do something extravagant, bigger, better, right? Have more better time at work, have more, tourism, all of these things. So if someone's starting from scratch with this kindness approach, that's what we're going to label it, unless you got a better one. What's the first thing they ought to do Monday morning? Like they're like, hey, why can't we just dare to dream and do something crazy and make a transformational change in our community? What are some first steps they could take to go?
Yeah, well, I think one thing is developing a cohort, right? Because one of the ways we've been successful is it's not just the Jamie show. I'm standing up there with a mic. It is all these people, and also it's multidisciplinary, right? So when I have my own little personal board of advisors that I bring together to help me plan these community safety summits that we're putting together. And it's people who I know will give me radical candor that will ultimately try to lift me up, but will be critical and will say, Jamie, that's dumb. Like we're not gonna,
Right.
all right, tell me how.
Yep.
So I think if people are trying to start a movement, or they're thinking, all right, what can we do in our community? If Monday morning you send an email out to, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 people, and they don't even have to know each other, but you start forming this cohort where you can feed off of each other's energy, and you can bring different ideas to the table, and also say if it's dumb, that's fair too.
Right.
I think that's my first step is making sure that you have relationships with people who have, I think that they need to have 3 things though, right? They need to be kind, because you want to work with someone who's nice. They also have to have power, right? You have to have some level of influence. Someone that is going to, when they walk into a room, other people listen, but then also like follow through and get things done. Because if you have a room just full of dreamers, that everyone likes, you need boots on the ground people like Kevin who are going to like pick up the phone and bug people and write press conferences and, write things and push it out there.
Take action. Well, and I love what you said, because when you said it, I thought, be okay with having one-on-one conversations. You're probably not the only one that feels like, hey, we can do more and be more. We can take a different approach. So have conversations with your coworkers in the city. Have convos with the police department. And don't have an agenda. Just go and talk. Oh my gosh, it's amazing what you'll uncover when you just build trust and listen to people. They'll tell you everything you've been trying to figure out on your own, right? So get those fodder. Go have conversations. That's how it started. People of reputation started talking in good heart, and it caught on like a forest fire, a positive one, right? So, and last question before we get to wrap up, man, we got to do round 2. All right. So, business folks, let's talk turkey about the business, right? So people are, well, first of all, people are thinking, some of them might be thinking, well, that's nice for government folks, but I'm a business person, right? I run a business. So what is it that we can communicate? What do you want to share with, hey, this is important to you too. It's not just for government officials. It's important to business owners, even small business owners, right? That it's not fluff. What's the message? Why should they get involved and be a part of this? Not just clergy, police, and government.
Yeah, well, number one, the ROI is if you're going to invest in public safety efforts, your community is going to then back you back up, right? So small little things like when it was time for me to buy lunch for the de-escalation training, I asked the cops, hey, where should I go? What's a place that is friendly, that's going to support you? And they're like, oh no, this pizza shop, like this guy is the place to go. And so I found that with business owners that are willing to invest in public safety efforts, and a lot of times, even like I know police officers, a lot of detectives who rely on business cameras to help them solve crime.
Right.
That like there's a detective in York who I was trying to understand how the camera system work. And so he said, hey, why don't you do a ride along with me? I'm going to go and look at, there was a hit and run. And so I'm going to go back behind. It was one of those like corner stores, look at the cameras, and we'll piece together what happened. And so I went back, and the owner of the business and this police officer had already established rapport. So they were kind of, talking and laughing. And then he shared the camera. That if that business ever called that detective, detective's going to answer, right?
Right.
Because he also needs the camera access. So because they've developed that relationship. So he's going to answer and he's going to do whatever he can to help that business. Whether there's going to be a break-in, they're going to prioritize it, or maybe there's
Right.
vandalism. It's going to be taken more seriously because they develop those relationships with the local police department.
Right.
And I already mentioned like big picture economic return. If people feel safe in your community, like when people are searching places to live, if they feel safe in the community, they're going to then choose to go and live and patronize those businesses.
Yeah, one reinforces the other. The more safety, the more economy. The better economy, the more safety. And guys, get on board. So go to York County Safety Collab, like collaboration, York County Safety Collab.org. Jamie Noerpel, Noerpel. All right. Yeah, I was reading that. You can go connect with her on LinkedIn, check out her posts, learn more. This is a real model that is working, folks. It's working in all aspects. Go check it out and go have that conversation. We want to see this under the banner of Kindness Worldwide, Kevin Smith. We want to see this out there in communities, right? This is real impact. Thank you, Jamie, for being vulnerable, open, and working so daggum hard to make the world a better place in York, starting in York. So thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, we'll see you on the next one. Be good. I got to find the buttons. There it is. Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.